We have to think how we can enhance somebody's life. So I want to teach you now how every single one of you can become a Lev Tov and enhance someone's life. And I'm going to tell you a story that many of you know the first part, but none of you know the second part. But it's going to change your life forever. Listen to this. In January of 2009, some of you remember. Now, I know that Torah Anytime is filming this, and this will literally go all over the world, and we thank Torah Anytime for being here tonight, because literally, wherever I go in the universe, whether it's in Chile, Australia, Mexico, people are always telling me, we saw you on TorahAnytime.com. So I know we're fundraising tonight for the yeshiva, but it doesn't hurt to support TorahAnytime.com, because the Torah that we're learning tonight is literally, can be seen all over the world. So in New York, in LaGuardia Airport in January 2009, a plane left LaGuardia. The captain, the pilot, was a man by the name of Chesley Sullenberger. Sullenberger sounds Jewish, but he's not Jewish. He's going to Charlotte, North Carolina, flight US Air 1549. Any of us who have ever flown out of LaGuardia knows that it takes less than a minute to get over the George Washington Bridge once you get off the runway. He's over the George Washington Bridge, and suddenly he realizes his plane has no power. And he radios back to LaGuardia, I've got no power. Both engines are immobilized. Why? Because two flocks of birds were sucked into the engines. And immobilized took away the power. So they said, turn the plane around. You're only a minute away. Well, shut the whole airport. Any tarmac that you can land, that'll be fine. The whole airport is yours. He says, I don't even have enough power to get back to LaGuardia. He's less than a minute away, and he doesn't have enough power. So they say, okay, with the thrust that you have, go to Teterboro. Some of you may know there's a small airport in New Jersey, Teterboro. We'll shut the airport. It's all yours, wherever you can land. He says, I can't even make it there. So he had two choices. One, he could either land the plane on the streets of Manhattan and he'll kill all 150 on board, plus many people in the street, or he'll try to land on the West Side Highway, or the second choice was to land in the Hudson River. Now, being that he is an aviation historian, he knew there's only one way that you can land a plane on water and everybody would be saved. And that is to land the plane so perfectly level that both wings hit the water the exact same microsecond. Because he knew that others had tried to land in water and one wing hit the water first. It snapped off from the impact, exploded, and everybody was killed. So now with great concentration and great skill and great siyata d'shmaya, he says three words over the loudspeaker. Brace for impact. That's the only thing he said. Brace for impact. And miraculously, again with siyata d'shmaya and skill and a tremendous concentration, he lands that plane perfectly level. The plane coasts for a mile, and everyone is saved. To me, the greatest picture ever taken, the greatest, is those people, if you've ever seen it, on the wing in the water. If I was on that wing, I would have slipped right into the water. I don't know how anybody had the wherewithal not to be so nervous as not to slip in the freezing water, freezing weather, in January, less than 20 degrees. He saved everyone. Hero for the rest of his life. Many people know the story because it was all over the news media, all over the whole world. But what most people don't know is that on the anniversary in January 2010, they brought him back to the Hudson River. And he stood along the Hudson River and they interviewed him. And they said, Captain Sullenberger, relive those moments for us. Tell us, how did you do it? How did you not lose yourself? You knew 150 lives were in the balance. How did you do it? Listen to what he said. It's going to change your life forever. He said, when I was a little boy, it was the beginning of my teenage years. The one that I loved the most was my father. I was so close to him. I loved him. I adored him, and he adored me. And then he was killed in a terrible, terrible way, which I can't even describe. He was killed in a terrible way, and I was so lonely, and I was so frightened, and I was in such anguish. I cried all day and all night. I never thought that I could live through this. And as I went through my teenage years, and the pain went away a little bit, I swore to myself for the rest of my life I would do anything to make sure that no one ever feels the pain that I went through. And as I was flying over the George Washington Bridge, all I could think of was my father. All I could think of was the pain that I had as a child. And I knew that if I don't land this plane perfectly, hundreds, if not thousands, of the friends and the family, the relatives, the parents, the siblings of these 150 would go through the pain that I went through. And that's why I concentrated with every ounce of strength that I had to make sure no one goes through what I went through. And that's how you become a Lev Tov. Look into your heart. Look into your life. Every one of us has gone through challenges. If you overcame that challenge, you have the responsibility to go out and reach that person that's going through the Gehenna you went through. And put your arm around them and say, listen, I know what you're going through. I went through that. Let me tell you how I did it. Let me tell you how I survived. That's what Captain Sullenberger taught us. Look in your life. Feel the pain of other people that you felt. And somehow, how you were able to manage, you make sure that others manage as well.